Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Boy GhostGG, and we are reacting to Resident Evil Requiem, the final preview. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the final preview, meaning the game is coming out fairly soon, and I believe fairly soon is February something. I actually have written it down in my notes app. I'm sure they'll tell me at the end of the video, but I may as well just check real quick. I am truly excited for this game. This is Resident Evil has always been. Oh, at the end of February, February 27th. Look at that. It's coming out at the end of the month. Resident Evil is a game series that has been a part of my life for a very long time. I'm only 27 years old, so like I ain't that old or nothing. But I remember the first time I played Resident Evil was Resident Evil 5. And then I ended up playing a little bit of 6. And then 7, 8, obviously we played on the channel. We played the 4 remake on the channel. I've played Resident Evil 2 remake, but I haven't played it on the channel. I have the 3 remake as well, but I haven't played it. So really, the only game that I haven't played in like the main like numbered series is like the very first one. And they have remastered it, but I want them to remake it like they remade 2 and 3. Hell, even like remastered 5 or something, that'd be sick. But yeah, like I'm a fan of Resident Evil. I love them. I even enjoyed the movies. I know that's gonna be a little controversial. I actually enjoy the movies because I'm able to separate the different types of media from each other and just enjoy them as separate things. And I enjoyed the movies. I liked them. They're fun. But yeah, this game has been a while in the making. I can't remember when 8 even came out. I think it was pandemic time, and it's been a while. But we're not going back to Ethan, because Ethan is gone. And we're not going back to his daughter, Rose. We are going to Grace and Leon, who is right here on the front, baby. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck it.
With the triumphant return of Leon Kennedy, Resident Evil Requiem is forced to straddle an
Leon's back and he's like 50 years old.
Action and methodical survival horror. I'll be honest, before getting my hands on the game and seeing the transition in action, I was extremely skeptical that Capcom would be able to create a coherent experience involving both Leon and Grace, the latest highly vulnerable protagonist.
Yeah, that's it. Grace is the vulnerable one, and Leon is the one who knocks. He's the danger.
Hey, over here.
The switching between their polar opposite styles sounds jarring, which is almost never a good thing. And although it's been a while, it's not like we haven't been burned by Capcom's desire to push the series towards action before. But I'm pleased to share that, from my all too brief 3 hours of hands-on time with Resident Evil,
I forgot this game is also in first and third person.
Really work, but there's also a lot more going on than just a merging of Resident Evil's greatest hits.
I might have to play it in third person. I think I enjoy the third person Resident Evils more than the first person, even though the first person is a lot more scarier.
My playtime started with a short test drive of Leon, and Resident Evil 4 muscle memory kicked in immediately. Make no mistake, this plays just like the recent remake, enhanced with some new clever additions suitable for a veteran badass. Leon is more handy than ever, with a deadly hatchet that he can swing mercilessly added to his regular arsenal.
Nice. Sick.
Leon can also
it does have a health bar at the bottom too.
Found in the world, can perform new contextual finishing moves, and finally wield the violent chainsaw. There was once a time when Leon feared the chainsaw, but now Leon has become Chainsaw, destroyer of ghouls.
Let's fucking go.
After a short 15 minutes, the gameplay shifted perspective to Grace Ashcroft, Requiem's second protagonist, picking up her journey immediately after the events of the previous demo I wrote about in August last year. Grace and Leon are polar opposites.
Of course, they get separated.
Fights and forward momentum of Resident Evil 4, as I was immediately thrust into what felt like a sterile, white, clean version of Resident Evil 7. For the next 2 hours, I explored the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, a somewhat traditional Resident Evil mansion that contains much of what you might expect among its rooms and corridors, but with plenty of new surprises. Surprises that mostly arise thanks to Grace's abilities, or rather, lack thereof. Much like in the previous demo, Grace's section was focused almost exclusively on survival horror. She is armed with a small pistol that she finds in the environment, but her firepower and combat skills are negligible compared to our favourite floppy-haired icon. Where Leon can roundhouse kick zombies in the face, Grace makes do with a clumsy push. Leon is all out assault, but the best course of action for Grace is slow and deliberate stealth. Because if you do try to take some of the new enemies head on, you're gonna have a bad time.
Oh my god, that look over. What the fuck?
Last year's demo revealed a new and much celebrated stalker enemy, a towering, hunched, bug-eyed warden. But even within the span of my short 3-hour session, I was introduced to another 2, giving me the impression that Resident Evil Requiem won't have one Mr. X or Nemesis-like persistent threat, but rather several smaller pursuers that seem to guard certain wings of the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Centre. Most notable was a hulking massive blubber called Chunk, who burst through the wall and into my heart, as he slowly but surely ground his way through the halls, stairwells and doorways in pursuit of me. Uniquely, Chunk fills the space entirely, so your only chance of survival is to find and navigate loops built into the level design in order to outmaneuver the walking lardass. It's a clever design that generates a somewhat living, breathing wall of terror, and one you can't simply sidestep or combat roll away from. Much like the stalker I escaped last year, Chunk is cleverly implemented into the context of traditional safe rooms. Where the room's bright light caused the previous stalker pain, Chunk simply can't physically squeeze his sheer mass through the door, making sure that there's a logical in-world justification for a room of respite. As well as Chunk, I also ran into a 7-foot-tall hulking unit masquerading as a chef, who, until he noticed me, was completely focused on his chopping chores. This soon-to-be stalker wasn't yet in searching mode. Rather, he was fulfilling, I assume, his pre-infection duties. And this kind of behavior isn't unique to the chef. It turns out in Resident
Grace is
Evil
holding a
Requiem,
magnum,
the
bro.
traditional zombie
Jesus.
fodder is just as much
Oh, you see that recoil? Fucking.
You see, zombies not only talk
Look to
now,
the sky,
but
eh?
also have their own personalities. The undead are no longer unfortunate generic lost souls, but rather husks that retain a smidge of living personalities, hanging out in the space that they once occupied. There's the lounge singing shrieker in the bar area, who, before being alerted, entertains herself by belting out a ditty. There are the zombies who were formerly patients in recovery that insist on wheeling around their drip stands, which are then, unsurprisingly, wielded as a weapon when they get aggroed. Some zombies hate loud noises and will repeatedly yell at you if you even so much as smash a vase. And then there's the one that loves nothing more than turning lights on and off until you rudely interrupt him. If it's not clear by now, Resident Evil Requiem, aside from being packed with action and fear, is also now funny, something that the series has never, at least intentionally, achieved before.
Yeah, punch that rock.
Around the hospital, there's the continual threat that around every corner awaits horror, or laughter, or sometimes even both. When you can hear the undead nattering away in a room you know you have to enter to achieve your next objective, it's hard to know whether to be scared or have a good chuckle. On paper, this sounds like it could be awful. I'm aware of that, but honestly, it's so good. I laughed so hard when I caught one particular dopey zombie red-handed, both literally and figuratively, lifting a large and importantly red canister to throw my way. I'm sure you can imagine what happened next. The zombie fodder isn't just around to entertain and quickly be disposed of though. As Grace, the undead are a significant threat, always moving a little faster than you anticipate. Their fallen corpses also pose a significant conundrum, as they have the ability to turn into blister heads, a reinvention of Resident Evil Remake's Crimson Heads for a new generation, that reanimate with a bulbous cranium and become significantly tougher to take down. Fortunately, Grace has a new tool at her disposal. A hemolytic injector that weaponizes the buckets of blood lying around the place. Seriously, it's everywhere. Creating a lethal injection that can be used as a preventative measure against blister heads when injecting a fallen enemy, and as a stealth attack against anything that's still moving. Beyond the new enemy types, playing as Grace does feel familiar if you've played either Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 2, although obviously it leans more towards the latter if you choose to play as Grace in third person. You're exploring a huge mansion with locked doors, There are obtuse puzzles to solve, antique coins to find that can upgrade your equipment, Mr. Raccoons to shoot, safe rooms with a typewriter for saving and a
Hey,
storage
Mr.
box for
Raccoons.
inventory management, and so forth. Leon, however, can brute force open certain doors that Grace can't, and is far more aggressive with combat compared to Grace's methodical stealth. You can also choose to play as Leon in first person, though after a brief dabble, it felt very unnatural to do so. I can't help but think Capcom built the game with Leon in third person and Grace in first person in mind, but it's hard to complain about more choice, despite knowing deep down the development team surely had a preference. My demo ended with a second, all too short stint as Leon, which allowed me to revisit sections of the care center I'd previously experienced with Grace. Interestingly, this section demonstrated perhaps my favorite element of this hybrid experience. Leon is also exposed to some of the tougher combat encounters that I'd suffered through as Grace, although the perspective, much like my viewpoint of choice, is very different. When I met Chunk as Grace, I immediately retreated and was forced into a game of cat and mouse. The threat is intimidating and encourages you to tread lightly. As Leon, however, emboldened by my newly acquired shotgun, I felt instantly trigger happy, unloading shells right up into Chunk's face and launching hatchet attacks on his head as part of a fight that felt somewhat reminiscent of the El Gigante encounters in Resident Evil 4. To Grace, Chunk and his fellow creeps are stalkers. To Leon, they're targets. This ethos was reaffirmed when taking on a wave of blisterheads with Leon at the end of my playtime. With Grace, I waited patiently for a stealth attack opportunity. With Leon, I was hurling hand grenades and throwing axes for fun. This year is the 30th anniversary of the Resident Evil series.
Oh, wow.
So it feels like no coincidence that 2026's Resident Evil Requiem is combining the best ideas of the saga into what appears to be a fantastically constructed tribute to everything that makes the series so great. Do you like tense survival horror? It's here. Want to go all guns blazing with intense action and a quip-obsessed hero? You get to do that too. Do you prefer playing Resident Evil games in first or third person? Doesn't matter, you can do either. All of these choices, along with my fears of a jarring play experience being mostly squashed, make it easy to believe that Capcom's bold move to have its cake and eat it is going to pay off in a big way. If you like that video and want to find out more about Resident Evil Requiem, why not check out my previous preview where I discuss another stalker enemy in great detail. And for everything else, be sure to stick with IGN.
Be sure to stick with IGN, ladies and gentlemen. There we have it. Resident Evil Requiem, the final preview. Damn, it looks good. It looks like so much fun. I can't wait to play it. End of February, ladies and gentlemen. End of February. So, we got Grace and we got Leon. We got dual protagonists. Two very different protagonists. As we know, Leon is the GOAT. He is amazing. He is a powerhouse. He is going to just go guns blazing and get through whatever he needs to get through. No questions asked. But Grace is new. Grace is scared. Grace is much more of a stealthy character. And that's how the probably going to end up playing it, right? We're going to end up playing Grace as stealth and Leon as guns blazing. And it gives like a different variety, right? Like it gives us different things to do in the same game. Different ways to play in the same game, and I can't complain against that. That's pretty dope. And yeah, I really want to play this game. I wonder if it has like 2-day early access or anything on that. Let me just check real quick. Resident Evil Requiem. It does have a deluxe edition. I can't tell. I don't think it does. Yeah, it just says it's coming out on the 26th. Probably comes out 26th at 11 p.m. my time or some shit like that. But yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time with whatever we're doing. Peace out.